Very good morning, students. Welcome to another session of irrigation and hydraulic structure subject. In the previous lecture, we have discussed about what is different types of gates, spillway gates, and we have seen different types. So based on the gates provided, we have categorized them as controlled or uncontrolled spillways. Now in the next topic, we have discussed about what is a tailwater rating curve, or else we call it as tailwater curve, and also we have seen what is a jump height curve. How the jump height curve is related to tailwater curve and what is the relation between them, that we are going to discuss in today's session. Now if you have a look at the picture, how to plot the jump height curve and also how to plot the tailwater curve. So these two, how to plot them and how to check the relation between them, that we are discussing now. Okay, now if you see how the plotting is made. So this plotting is made based on the two values. Okay, so one is the discharge Q and also the depth D2. So this depth D2 is indicating that this depth is for the post jump, means after jumping, what is the tailwater depth? So that is the D2 here. So based on these two, we can plot the jump height curve like this. Okay, so what is our motto? So this is the water which is having an initial head, and this water has a potential energy, high potential energy, that is V1 square by 2G. Okay, so this water is released and spilling over the crest and it is coming like this, and the initial depth of water is D1, and after jump the final depth of tailwater is D2. So in between this depth D1 and D2, the jump is occurred. Okay, so after this jump, the energy has reduced from V1 square by 2G to V2 square by 2G. So that is what our main motto. In the energy dissipation, we are taking the help of hydraulic jump as well as the stilling basins. So by means of these two, right, by provision of hydraulic jump with the help of stilling basins, so we are reducing the energy. Energy is dissipated so that we can provide the whatever the downstream portion is there, this portion can be protected so that the dam is safe at the toe. Okay, so that is what our intention. So we know how to plot the graph of jump height curve. So this is plotted like this. So as the discharge increases, what happens? The depth also increases. Means the depth required will increase. Okay, so this is the relation. So if we have these two values, we can draw the jump height curve like this. Okay, in the similar way, so whatever the picture you are seeing here, okay, so this is the picture. So where the water is flowing like this and the initial depth is T1 and the post jump depth is T2. So what we are doing, the efficiency of the hydraulic jump, means whatever the jump we are taking here, the efficiency of this hydraulic jump will dependent on the two factors. One is the height of the tailwater and the depth of the tailwater, means what is the depth of this tailwater and what is the position where it is, whether it is close to the spillway or far away from the spillway. So how much distance, what is the position and height of the tailwater. So these two will highly influence the efficiency of the hydraulic jump, and also with respect to that we will make some work, protection works. So these protection works as well as hydraulic jump efficiency are completely dependent on these two factors, position and depth of the tailwater. So if these two are varying, so the efficiency of this hydraulic jump as well as the protection works will vary. Okay, so if we have a look at this, so how to overcome this problem. So the tailwater curve gives the relation between, as we have discussed. So whatever the tailwater curve is there, so that is the relation between Q, discharge Q, and the tailwater depth D, capital D we are considering here. So as to calculate this, as to draw the jump height curve, these two are required. So in the similar fashion, the tailwater depth is required along with the discharge Q to draw the jump height curve, tailwater rating curve. Okay, so how to prepare this? So this can be prepared by actual gauge readings, means at the downstream at some control points we can take the tailwater depths and we can plot the tailwater curve. Okay, so this is how the two rating curves like jump height curve as well as tailwater curves are drawn. Now there is a close relation between these two, means how these two conditions, it may be a tailwater curve or it may be a jump height curve. So these two are sometimes they are coinciding, sometimes one is greater than the other and sometimes one is lesser than the other. Okay, and also it depends on the discharges. So these curves will dependent on discharges. At some times the discharge will be very high, at some times the discharge will be very low. So for these conditions, so how these curves will change, and in order to protect the downstream portion, so how to protect that, what are the different possible ways are there, let us have a look at them. Now the relationship, if we see the relation between the jump height curve as well as tailwater curve, so these are 5 different cases are there, conditions are there. One is both the curves coinciding, means whatever the tailwater curve is there, so that is coinciding with this jump height curve. Okay, so sometimes what happens, jump height curve lies lower than the tailwater curve for all discharges. The discharge may be higher or lower, but the jump height curve is lying under the tailwater curve, means it is low. So the tailwater is flowing like this and the jump height curve is like this. So these two are like this. So always it is lower. Okay, so in the similar fashion, the reverse case, jump height curve lies above the tailwater curve for all discharges. And the next one is jump height curve lies lower than the tailwater curve for small discharges. For higher discharges, so the tailwater jump height curve is higher than the tailwater for higher discharges. So the fifth condition is vice versa of the fourth condition. So jump height curve lies above the tailwater curve for small discharges. Okay, and lower than the tailwater curve for higher discharges. So these 5 conditions, how to consider them and how to give the protection works and what are the controlling measures, let us have a look at them. So for the first condition, what is the first condition? Both the curves are coinciding. So if both the curves are coinciding, what happens? So this is an idealized condition. So since we have the hydraulic jump depth is available, so the jump formation thus be perfect at all discharges and jump will be formed at the toe. Means just at the toe the jump will be started. Okay, so for this condition what we have to take a protective measure. As a simple case that we have to provide a horizontal apron of length of 5 into d2 minus d1. So what is d2 d1? Here the depths before jump and after jump. Okay, so now let us have a look at the figure. So in this particular case, so what happens? The jump is forming exactly near the toe. So in this particular case what happens? So this jump height curve as well as whatever the tailwater curve is there, they are coinciding with each other. So there what happens? Perfect jump will be occurring like this. So this is D1 and this is D2. So for this condition what happens? So in order to protect the downstream portion, so how much portion we need to protect? So this is the amount of portion we need to protect. Okay, so this is the stilling basin we need to provide, because so the turbulence will be more at this particular piece. So water will have high turbulence, so as it is moving like this, as it is hitching and it is moving like this. So this area if you want to protect. So this is the stilling portion we want to protect. So that length is given as 5 into d2 minus d1. 5 times of d2 minus d1 will be the protective area. This much area we need to protect under condition. What is that condition? If both the curves, jump height curve as well as tailwater curve, are coinciding with each other. So when these two will coincide, whenever the jump is forming just above the, means jump is started forming near the toe. Okay, so this is our first condition and the controlling measures we need to take. So this is the picture. So both the curves are coinciding with each other. So here you can see this is the tailwater depth and this is the discharge Q, and this is the capital D which is collected at some control station where the discharges. So the depth of water can be calculated at the control station. Okay, so from gauges or some other ways we have to calculate this D. Okay. Now for the second condition, so what is our second condition? It lies higher than the jump height curve, lies higher than the tailwater curve. So in this particular case what happens? So available tailwater is greater than the required. Means the depth required at the tailwater is higher than more than the required for the formation of hydraulic jump. Okay, so in this particular case what happens? The jump will be completely submerged and no visible standing curve will occur. So if no visible standing curve is occurring, so what it indicates? It indicates that the energy dissipation will be much lesser than the required. So our intention is to dissipate the energy by means of hydraulic jump. So if the tailwater is having higher depth than the required, so in this particular case jump height will be very less and the energy dissipation will also be simultaneously less. So in this particular case what happens? Here you can see the picture here. In the left side picture you can see. So this is our downstream area. So here what happens? So this is our tailwater depth. So this is much higher than the required. This is much higher than the required one. So our required depth of water is for the good formation hydraulic jump is Y2. But we have a tailwater depth of Y2 dash. Okay, so in this particular case what we are doing? We are doing that. So our required depth is Y2, but the available tailwater depth is Y2 dash. So in this particular case what happens? So what we are doing? So as the depth is greater, so no hydraulic jump will be forming. The required hydraulic jump will be forming. So then the energy dissipation will also simultaneously not up to the mark. So in this particular case what happens? So we are taking controlling measure that we are increasing the slope like this, so that the depth required for the sufficient formation of hydraulic jump will be Y2 will be achieved by maintaining a slope or glacis like this. So this will enhance that. So whatever the depth hydraulic jump required for the required depth will be forming. So this is achieved, means we are reducing the depth for sufficient hydraulic jump formation. So that is by maintaining a slope or inclined portion, or we call it as glacis like this. So this will make the hydraulic jump formation, right, and the energy will be dissipated like this, and it is going like this. Okay, so here what is our condition? Our jump height curve is falling below the tailwater curve, as the tailwater depth is much high than the required one. Okay, so in this particular case, so already we have seen the protective measure. What we have to do? We have to take a sloping like this, in order to meet the depth capital T. So this is the sloping portion, so that the D2 will be the depth of hydraulic jump, right? So hydraulic jump is formed like this. So this is the complete portion which we need to protect. So the stilling basin portion which we need to protect like this. Okay, so this particular protective measure is already taken in Madden Dam, which is in Panama Canal. So this kind of sloping arrangement is given in order to create hydraulic jump at the required depth. Okay, now similarly, so protective measure we have seen. One more protective measure is also given here. So using a bucket type like this. So by providing a bucket type portion like this, so what happens? The jump will be formed like this and the energy is dissipated. So one more way is by creating the hydraulic jump like this, so water can be flowing like this, so after falling. And one more way is by creating a sharp upturned bucket. So by this way also we can dissipate the energy. So it serves as a deflector. Okay. Now if you see the third condition, so by providing baffles at the stilling basins, so these baffles will, what happens? So this baffle will reduce the energy which is coming with a high velocity from the upstream side. So these will reduce the energy and a small jump will be formed like this and the energy is dissipated. So these are the by three different ways we can dissipate the energy. One is we can provide the inclined slope, and the second one is we can provide a bucket type like this which serves as a deflector, and the third one is we can provide the baffles at the downstream bed so that the energy is dissipated. So by means of these three ways we can dissipate the energy. So these are protective measures in order to reduce the stilling basin. Means, so what is the stilling basin portion? So this is the stilling basin portion because it carries the high velocity. So due to the frictional forces, the downstream portion may be getting damaged. So by means of these three ways, the energy is dissipated and the downstream protection will be possible. Okay, so this is the case when the jump height curve is lesser than the tailwater curve. Okay. Now let us move on to the next case, third condition. So in this third condition, what we are saying, so in this particular case, the available water depth is lesser than the required. So vice versa of the second case. So here what happens? So the jump height curve is higher and the tailwater depth is very low. So this is our tailwater depth required, Y2, so which we are denoting it as capital D, and our depth is very less. So it is only of this much. So this is our required depth Y1, which is greater than the required depth Y2, which we are considering it as capital T here in our case. So in this particular case, what happens? Okay, so more jump will be formed, heavy jump will be formed and the depth will be increasing. Okay, so in this particular case, what happens? We can dig a portion like this in order to meet the depth T. Means we are removing the portion, we are cutting down the portion in the stilling basin so that the depth required for this and this will be matching, so that the energy dissipation will be made properly and at required depth we can form our hydraulic jump. Okay, so here you can see. So this is our D, tailwater depth, and this is our immediately after jump, this is our depth T. So what we are doing, so if this height is maintained, what happens? Let us assume that this height is maintained. So the water will be hitting here and the hydraulic jump will be formed at this place and the depth of water will be flowing like this. So if the surface is flat like this and this height is much greater than the tailwater. So that is the reason what we are doing in order to meet this depth. So this is our required depth at the tailwater. So in order to meet this, what we are doing, we are sloping, creating a sloping like this in the Stilling Basin, so that the jump will be formed at this place and this height is met. Okay, so this is our required depth, tailwater depth. So that is the reason we are creating a slope in order to meet, after jump, to meet this required depth D, we are doing a formation of Stilling Basin like this. So this is the controlling measure. So we are providing a cistern here, so depressed below the bed with a sloping like this. Okay, so this is first means. If the jump height curve is greater than the tailwater curve, then this is the condition, first condition. So the similar way we can take one more with the help of cistern and with baffles to reduce the energy. So this is also one more way. Cistern is excavated in the rock and a small baffles are also provided in order to dissipate the energy. Okay, now one more is a low secondary dam. Means here we can provide a low secondary dam so that we can meet the required depth here. Means baffles are provided, dissipate the energy, and also in order to meet the depth, we are providing a low secondary dam like this. So by means of these three ways, we can reduce the energy, or energy dissipation may be made, and we can achieve the required tailwater depth. So these are the three different ways by means of which we can dissipate the energy and also we can protect the downstream area of the Stilling Basin. So this is the area which we have to protect. So it is protected by dissipating the energy. Okay. Now the fourth condition is, what is the fourth condition? It varies, means under variable discharges, small and high discharges, how the jump height curve and the tailwater curve is coinciding. So at low discharges, what we are expecting, the jump will be drawn. Means at low discharges, if the discharge at the initial stages, the jump height curve is lesser than this tailwater curve. At higher discharges, what happens? The jump height curve is greater than the tailwater curve. So these are the two different conditions here. So in this particular case, what we have to do? We have to take a measure in such a way that for lower discharges, so we have to make a system like this. Cistern will be provided. Okay. So like this, under low discharges, if the discharge is very less, let us assume. So water is coming here and the jump will be formed here and it is flowing like this. So under low discharges, so this is our depth. Okay. So under high discharges, so what is our depth? So this is our depth D dash. So in order to meet both the depths, so what we are doing, we are providing inclined portion. A Stilling Basin is designed in such a way that a portion is partly above the river bed and a portion is partly below the bed. So by arranging the portion partly above and below, so these two are met. Under low discharges, under high discharges, our required jump height formation will be sufficient at required depth and the tailwater depth also is meeting. Okay, so this is how you can protect the under variable discharges, you can protect the Stilling Basin area. This is the Stilling Basin area. We can protect by reducing the energy of water. So sloping apron, I am partly below and above the bed. So this is the controlling measure. So in the next case, so vice versa of the reverse case. So here what happens? The tailwater curve is sometimes greater than, here it is lower than the jump height curve and at lower discharges, and at higher discharges, so whatever the tailwater curve is there, that is greater than the jump height curve. Okay, so the same condition whatever we are discussing here, it is suitable in the reverse condition. Okay. Okay, at low discharges and high discharges, the same. It is constructed partly above and below the bed. So this is how you can protect the downstream stilling basin. So this is the stilling basin, because as we get more turbulent water here, so this is the area we need to protect, the stilling basin area. So that is the reason we are providing a baffles as inclined portions, small dams. So these are the different ways to protect the stilling basin by dissipating the energy.